Welcome to today's AMA, where we're diving into Alpha Liquid Terminal, ALTx Finance, the all-in-one digital asset terminal designed to unify financial data, AI-driven analytics, trading, and compliance tools for both crypto and traditional finance. At its core, ALTx solves the fragmentation of financial data, bringing everything investors need into one powerful dashboard with AI-powered assistance, real-time analytics, and a seamless trading environment. It's built to give both retail and institutional investors an edge in the evolving financial landscape. So this AMA is going to be hosted by Intrepid Venture Capital, a firm with over 160 investors. And we're excited to share that we are investing into ALTx Finance. Our goal today is to not just bring awareness to the project, but also give our investors deeper insights into ALTx's mission, roadmap, and potential strategic partnerships, helping them make a more informed investment decision. Joining us today is Enzo Villani, founder and CEO of Alpha Transform Holdings, the parent company to Alpha Sigma Capital Funds, including Alpha Sigma Blockchain / Web3 Fund and Alpha Liquid Fund. He's a seasoned entrepreneur, investor, and chief strategy officer with deep experience in traditional finance, cryptocurrency exchanges, blockchain, fintech, and capital markets. His background includes M&A leadership, strategy roles at NASDAQ, and co-founded NASDAQ Global Corporate Solutions, as well as driving private equity-backed global consolidations in investor relations, market intelligence, and proxy solicitation. So Enzo's here to break down ALTx Finance's vision, expansion plans, and the future of finance. So I know that was a lot. Did I cover everything, Enzo?
I think I have the word alpha in too many things.
I was like, I'm ready alpha this, alpha that.
Well, because it started with the Alpha Sigma Capital Fund, and then and then I was like, oh, the Alpha Liquid Fund and the Alpha Liquid Terminal. But yeah, so thanks guys for having me on. I can go through a couple of things. I mean, this is the AMA, so if you want to ask questions too, but I have a deck. We can go through it, and then you guys just kind of jump in, and I think that'll help us, kind of manage this conversation. So first and foremost, I'm always very. I have this kind of, this background in actually investor relations. So I always have this. This is not investment advice. My safe harbor statement, and I make sure that everyone knows that. We are definitely going to talk about something that is a private offering. This is actually an offering for stock, and it comes with a warrant for tokens, for the ALTx tokens. We are a US-based company, so I won't go too much into Alpha Transform, except that we have three core services. One is actually asset management, which is the funds right now. We are looking at purchasing 5,000 customers. They're all at a separate RIA, so we are looking at that now, because we believe that as part of our terminal, we'll have a regulated version of that and not just a fintech version. We are creating actually these products, these kind of financial products, such as the ASC AI index products. So we plan eventually to get into the products business. I have a background in the products business, similar to ETFs and so on when I worked in NASDAQ. And then third, we do some basic advisory, mostly for the portfolio companies that we invest into. Where we focus on three customers, really. One is the issuer of digital assets. So we have a company called Blockchain Wire. We have 4,500 corporate accounts there as customers. We're the number one press release service in blockchain. Michael Turpin, who is one of my co-heads, and I both founded GlobeNewsWire and MarketWire, which kind of came as a combined entity when NASDAQ bought, GlobeNewsWire and MarketWire. I started GlobeNewsWire. So we're doing something similar to that. We do service the issuers with SU research coverage. We give them capital, so on and so forth. So we're intermediate exposure as a company. We don't get paid for that. We actually invest, and then we just really push the actual company along by giving them research that's completely independent. The second group of people are the folks who invest in our funds. So they're family offices, they're kind of accredited investors, but they also are receiving our research. And then the third group are the institutional investors. These are more, and the investment banks, the RIAs. These are all the TradFi people that we know that want us to show them more about the digital asset space, and are using our research, our contacts, and so on to understand that better. We are the team here. We have 2 CFAs. 3 of the people here have run hedge funds, more than one. So we have and a few of us have been in actually private equity and strategy. So we have that background in working on the TradFi side, and then we're all experienced in the crypto side for about 10 years plus. So Michael Turpin's been in it since 2011. I started in 2014. Here are the 2 funds, great kind of returns. We won't go into this. What's the problem? The problem is the digital asset space is confusing and risky. And the price volatility, the security concerns, the poor UI. I have 5 screens. I run 15 tabs. I have 3 browsers to run 3 separate MetaMasks. And there's no kind of regulatory body yet either. So you have all of this kind of fragmentation. Now with the world that we're moving into, you add AI, and things get really, really interesting. Because, so my background is I've been building fintech platforms since the 90s. Okay, so I built some of the first websites and web products at Citibank, NASDAQ. My team is built at CME, the actual New York Stock Exchange, PayPal. We built stuff for OKX. So the idea is this, is that with agents coming on board, the future of trading is going to be very different. I was sitting in a room in Denver at the kind of ETH Denver conference, and there was a side event where they had this hackathon, and they were showing agents. And every single developer, there were about 100 of them in the room, had built at least one agent. That's 100 agents right there. Most likely, they're going to build 5, 6, 10. So I expect to have 5 million agents probably by the end of the year. I think that either the end of this year or about the middle of next year, we'll have probably 5 million crypto agents doing everything from posting on Twitter to trading to all this stuff. So what happens to the world of trading and asset management and the financial structure when you have 5 million agents? And then on top of that, you have a bunch of tokenized products that are going to continue to be tokenized. Now with the lawfare being lifted in the actual U.S. market, we're going to start seeing a lot more regulation, a lot more RWAs, or really the actual tokenization of products that are real estate, that are stocks, that are hybrid, that are whatever. So you're going to have these 2 kind of exponential lifts, one on the agent side and one on the asset side. How is that going to be managed? So we think it's first, the past was person to person, and I have friends who are still on the floor of the actual kind of New York Stock Exchange. I call them dinosaurs, but I still love them. They're even using like a pad now. But the next step is the person to the AI, and then the AI to AI, and we're already seeing that already. I mean, every day that I wake up, I look at Twitter, and there's another breakthrough in the AI compute sector. So I realized that even as a fund, like we started building the actual terminal, because I built like the market intelligence desk terminal type of design at NASDAQ. I built multiple terminals over my last 25 years. And I've always been in the innovation game. I've always been a chief strategy officer, or changed an industry, that type of stuff. I'm always that I've always been in that role. So I was like, we need a terminal that's going to help us. And I realized that we need this terminal for us. And every time I talked about it to someone else, they were like, well, I want the terminal. And I was like, well, okay, well, then let's build something that's going to be very commercial grade. So I looked at it this way. We have the buy side terminal POV. So everything that I've ever built has been one tech stack with multiple POVs. So even in NASDAQ, I had one tech data stack, and I had actually NASDAQ.com attached to it, the NASDAQ.net products, which were all the corporate solution products for the issuers. We were buying data from multiple companies and selling it back to, like, FactSet, Capital IQ, and Thomson, even though we were competing against some of them. And then we had the token, and then we had the stock relation side, because I dealt a lot with the issuer. So I said, let's build one tech stack with a POV that has both buy side and sell side, and then in the middle of it will be the chat analyst, which is the original idea. The original idea for this whole system was the concept of building a AI analyst, junior analyst bot that you could utilize, and it would start to learn how you trade, how you interact, how you invest, what you look for, and then it would help you manage your entire world. What I realized then, though, is that with 5 million agents maybe coming on board, that chat analyst has to be the orchestrator of all of those bots. That you won't use them all, obviously, but you'll need an AI to help you figure that out. So one of the things I did, I said, well, let's just throw in a big bucket all of the things that we do as a fund. And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of stuff with a lot of different assets, a lot of different players, and this is not even including the AI guys yet. AI Quant, Eliza, or everything that's coming out of DeepSeek, Manus, OpenAI. I mean, it's going. This AI race is just going to keep going. So what are the key features? Is that we needed to have a modular platform, because we don't know who's going to be the winners and losers. So you're going to make it modular. And with Web3, we can do this with APIs and Web3 hooks. We need to have a tokenized economy, so it's like a maker-taker type of approach, so people can build applications on the terminal and also use them. We want to curate research and publishing, so everyone can share in the information flows, including the agents. We need to have both the digital asset and token kind of relation side, which is basically the sell side, the issuer. And we also need to have best X trading and execution on the buy side. Because when you're trying to trade, if you're a fund, and I have that background, you basically say to yourself, I need to have best execution because it's part of my mandate. Pension funds and all of these large broker dealers and banks will not be able to execute on these fragmented markets unless they can almost guarantee best X. So you need to find that in a way that's the best possible way. And then, of course, reporting and compliance and data and basic analytics, clearing and settlement, and so on. So one of the things that we realize is that we need to have a compliance piece. So we're building this for ourselves. I mean, I know it sounds complicated, but I built these in the past. The market intelligence desk, when I built that at NASDAQ, we had 150 APIs that were coming in. So, and that was back in the mid 2000s. So this is not like, it's not like it's not doable. It just has to be done in the right way. With Web3, it's actually easier now. So when I look at the token relations side, we were like, well, let's take blockchain wire, which we have the 4,500 customers, and let's service them. So everyone who's a token issuer will be able to do things like market themselves, talk to investors, find new investors, manage, their basic treasury, both have custody, self-custody, and outsource custody types of products attached to it. You'll have the opportunity to do more marketing and PR and so on. So how does this all work, right? The Alpha Liquid Terminal and the Alpha Token kind of relations terminal is still the Alpha Liquid Terminal. In the middle is this AI layer, and that AI layer helps all of us work together in a more efficient way. We have the AI management, again, is the orchestrator, and then you have different, and we've already built these primitive bots also. And then we've also we partnered with both ALTx Finance and AI Quant, and we are partnering with more of them, including actually Masari. And the concept is a lot of these people are building these bots, and we built them ourselves too. So you can have a bot that just makes charts. You can have a bot that just does, actually research writing. Like one of the most interesting things about this product is I was actually opening up the actual chat analyst in the first version of the POC, and I said, make me a chart. Show me the Bitcoin inflows and outflows for the ETFs. The agent wrote the chart from scratch, who coded the chart and gave me the answer. And then I added that chart as a module to my desktop, which I can resize and move around. But what someone told me when I did that, and I didn't even understand this at first, was that module sitting on that desktop is now an agent. That's an agentic bot, because it keeps on writing, it keeps on showing the chart and redoing the chart every time, or using the same code stack that it wrote. And then it's pulling the actual data, and it keeps on answering the same question. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. So what's going to happen is every module on the platform becomes an agent, basically, both on the execution side and both on the research side. It may sound a little complicated, so stop me if it gets too complicated, because I feel like, I'm going to overwhelm people. So if you have a bunch of agents, just think of this like a hedge fund manager. If you have a bunch of hedge fund people working for you, you have analysts, you have traders. You're going to be doing the same thing, but they're going to be agents. And then they have to report back to you. So what the screen really is doing for you is it's giving you the report back as it's executing. So why don't I stop for a second so that we can regroup and say, what is this product doing? Which is pretty simple, although it sounds very complicated.
So one way I could see this also, do you see this also being kind of retrofitted so that it could be a tool for anyone who's managing agent armies, so to speak? One thing Chamath Palihapitiya said recently, I messed up his name, is that there's going to be billion-dollar startups with one person. And one way I could imagine that is, you're rethinking the user experience between people and their devices. Remember, Google became a $1 trillion company, and it was just Google and a box, and that allowed people to interface with the web. Well, this is going to be a way for people to interface with agents, but in effect, agents are like employees. And so not only can you do the task of having modules that do your investment strategy, whatever that is, whatever strategy, whichever module you want to use, but it can also allow for you to run companies or any type of modules. So what are your thoughts on the potential for this to not only be a modular platform for anyone, for traders and funds like yourself and other funds, but for it potentially to be just the general UX that people use?
So the goal for us is to make it as modular as possible so people can create and attach agents no matter what they do. So let's say you have an agent. So all of the agent functions have wallets attached to them or no wallets attached to them. Some of the agent functions are going to go out and do research and gather data and present that. If you want to present your QuickBook file of your accounting software and you want to track all your trades, like a fund administration firm does, like we use Nav for the funds, you could have that built into an agent. We know that we're going to build a compliance one that's going to run locally. Like we have a physical terminal with the Chrome OS, a version of that. That's going to be probably more for, I think, for the institutional folks or for the prosumer, because we're coming up with ways for people to put their keys on there and so on and so forth. But that's very technical. I'm not going to go near that. But the idea is that you have the ability to add any agent you want. And I think that's where Web3, the great thing about Web3 and blockchain is that it's open source technology It's not, and it's not closed. It's not a closed walled garden. When you're from the fintech space of Web 2, everything was closed. Like the NASDAQ matching engine software, that's all NASDAQ code. We don't expose that code to anyone. They don't really, I don't even think, to be my vision or what I'm saying is, I don't know why you would need matching engine software in the future. Like NASDAQ won't have to code its next matching engine if they don't want to. They can just take open source code, blockchain code, DEX code, and they can create a massive matching engine. So, and you get an AI just basically running the matching engines, right? So you don't, it's up to you what you want to do with it. So yes, this terminal can become anything you want, because once the sandbox, when I realized, I was like, I'm not going to build a Web 2 terminal. I'm going to build a Web 3 terminal. That's a sandbox. And I used to build modular systems in Web 2. And I'm like, well, here, my vision is that you'll have, I will open source the sandbox at some point, and you'll be able to have compile code, and you'll be able to take your agent, attach a wallet to it so you can get paid on it in ALTx tokens when people use it, and you'll be able to compile it and post it into the marketplace. And the marketplace, unlike Apple, like right now in the Apple marketplace, you have to go look for the app, and there's millions of apps, right? You'll have your chat analyst, which is basically you, your twin, right? Because it learns about you, you're learning about it. And you'll say, go find me the top 3 accounting applications that have agents attached to them. We'll go out, find you the top 3, you choose one, you put the connectors in, and you're done.
Yeah, I think that's what I love most about this product is I'm just thinking about the everyday investor that works like a 9-to-5 job that doesn't have time to manage or track a portfolio. It's like, this is going to do it for them. It's going to build it into a way where it's like, hey, like I want to track this token and I want to be notified when it hits this price point so I can sell it at this price point. Or, hey, I want to track all my expenses for my business and, you know, figure out what deductions I have to use. So I pay less in taxes. So this is going to be like everything. It's like an app killer, honestly. So it's going to take, like, you don't need apps, because this will be one app where you can just develop your own app.
Well, so what I realize is when you have that many agents running, or when like, I was like, why can't I have 5,000 agents running 5,000 wallets and then just have them come in and give me the report?
Yeah.
And then we were just recently talking about hives. Because it'd be so many, like if you have like 500 agents doing market neutral, you don't need to see every single agent. You just need to see what the results are. So you have a hive, and the hive reports.
Wow.
And it's a chart.
Pretty cool.
So what you're looking at is you're really, it's almost like a passive tool where you're setting strategies. So you're like going, I see it as, I as a human am going that exponential, that $1 billion company with the one person. Like, I would love to see someone take my terminal and say, I built all these little tools on it, and now I have $1 billion valuation, and I'm one person.
Yeah, no, that's going to happen with this. This is pretty cool. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, so I mean,
you said it's going to be open source, right? So that means anyone could build on it, because I know the open source models are quickly catching up. They were behind, but I don't know if that's the case anymore. Like, you know, with the AI models, with the agents, open source seems to be, yeah.
Okay, so we already are seeing it. So we partnered with the guys out of Eliza. AI Quant, which is another group, has used some of the Eliza tech stack to build their bots. We just looked at a bot yesterday that goes and researches 10,000 meme coins and came up with 5 that are good. You know.
Wow.
Based on this kind of criteria, and then you can set a wallet to it and execute against it.
That's huge.
We also just met with a domain name service called like NetZilo or something like that. I know the person. They came to me about it, and they're like, "You can have a .altx domain." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's cool." And we'll, you know, so if you're one of the registered users, you could use that as a win, like it's a name service, so you could send any token to it. You don't have to worry about Solana contracts, this contract, forget about all that stuff. You send it to michaelparker.altx and it goes to Michael Parker. It goes to the right wallet. So I was like, that's cool. We'll add that. And he's like, he goes, yeah, I built bots using Eliza. I'm like, that's interesting. So what I think is going to happen is what I want to do is I want to open source the actual terminal, the compiler, basically. So you can just add stuff to it, and then people can just upload. And I'm not going to put any, like, the only thing I have to think about is whether we start to section it off. Like, here's a good example. So the so there's a very big group, about 17 million traders. And people would know the name. I'm not going to say it because it's not out yet. But we want to do a custom version for them. Because if everything's modular, I can drop versions for you. Like if you're a big fund and your word, like I have traders in Amsterdam and Cozumel, Mexico, and then I use Amber in Asia. I could drop a terminal on their desk and it could be completely whitelisted. They can't move stuff off of it, but they could trade all day. And I could have a compliance officer agent. Like, let's say you're a fund and your mandate is you're not allowed to do more than 2x leverage. The agent, that's the compliance officer, could be watching you, and you go to 100x on some perp trade. It could actually stop you.
So is your vision leasing this service to like hedge funds and other investors?
Yeah, I'm going to charge $1,000. So my goal is you get the box. It's all built. I just focus on the box, or I focus on the SaaS, and it's $1,000 a month or $500 a month for the SaaS, and you just do whatever you want. And you have your own private keys if you want that. You want to use both. The wallet system has the hybrid custody model, because we, as a fund, I was thinking to myself, okay, I use 3 different places to put our assets, and I also do sweeps, and I'll put them all away, like almost on a daily basis. I don't leave a lot of money on exchanges. So I was like, well, we want this tool. I have to be able to have a couple of different options, so you can diversify where you want to put your stuff. You want to put it in more of a not cold storage, but maybe somewhat cold storage. You want to hold keys locally. You want to hold keys with a kind of MPC. You want triple FA instead of 2FA. Like, you can do all that stuff. It's not that hard to do. And with Chrome OS, it's unhackable. You know, it's never been hacked. Chrome OS is the software that they use to run Chrome. I mean, to run Google. I don't know if folks know this, but the software, the guy Scott Jensen, who came out of Google and is running all of the hardware for us, he's like, the software on your kid's Chromebook is the same software that's used in the Google Cloud.
Oh wow!
It's it's bulletproof Chrome OS. It's very, very. It's like one of the best OSs out there from a non-hacking standpoint. So yeah, I mean, I don't want it to be hacked. But yeah, a lot of those things are part of this. And by partnering with Google, I can make this military grade. And the people who are building, so what I did was I hired a team of really good architects and engineers, and then I have the actual Web3 devs building on their infrastructure versus Web3 devs running the project. So the guys that are running the project are former Microsoft, Google, Deloitte, PwC, IBM. Built stuff for PayPal, neobanks, fintech. Like, that's the type of people I realized that what we needed was a sandbox for Web3 devs to play in that's highly architected, in a really good way, so that they can execute. Because what fund manager is going to be able to use any of these agents without having some type of compliance tracking system or accounting tracking system? It's going to be impossible. So all these agents that everyone's making are going to be like Wild West. It's going to get even more wild.
Yeah.
And then what's it? You have 5 million agents running at the same time with crypto wallets.
I was gonna say, yeah, at that point, it's like, is everybody gonna be trading the same? And it's like, so that's why I think like with you leasing out the services is gonna make it more competitive.
Yeah, and people can watch, and people can see what's what, and then you can use your AI to go find the best AI leaders to do what you want it to do. Because you can still make a strategy. You can choose. All right, I'm going to be on the contrarian side. I'm going to be on the momentum side. I'm going to do GARP, like the growth at a reasonable price. I'm going, all these different hedge fund or trading strategies you can execute. And what's funny is people who are not savvy in executing those trades with agents,
they're pro.
You're getting the pro.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. It levels the playing field.
You know what? I have to tell you, this is the first. So I started off working at 19. I worked during the summers at actually Schiff and Lehman Brothers on the block equity desk. That all we traded was block New York Stock Exchange stocks, large blocks, biggest companies, and we had tickets. They literally had tickets. Okay, and then I saw the order book, because I've always been in the exchange world. I saw the order book, and then the auction. We had online auctions go live at NASDAQ, where at the market open and the market closed, you have an actual auction on the digital side. That happened, and then the floors are gone, right? And now we have Agentic. And then we have, we've always had algos and HFT. It's about 70% of the market now. And then retail comes back in. Now we have all these retail self-directed traders. Pension funds are going down because people don't do pensions anymore. So now it's going all back to retail again. And then crypto shows up and pushes Wall Street to go 24/7.
Yeah, I did see that.
We have 24/7 stock trading, options trading, futures trading, and crypto trading, and we're about to explode even more tokenized assets. It's going to be insane.
Yeah.
So you're never going to be able to sit down at a desk. I could have 50 screens up.
So how does the ALTx token benefit from the growth of you guys? I do know that this is an American established company. I believe that's going to be a big narrative going forward. That's going to be that's going to be one of the main components of my strategy, to strictly stick to American-based brands. American embracing crypto. It's like I see that as being very bullish. So how in the context of a changing regulatory environment and being an American brand, how is the ALTx going to experience the capture and the momentum of the growth of this product, and from that angle?
So it's going to be a true, used coin in the actual system. In fact, when we drop the actual terminals, we're going to have them embedded. We are doing something where it's a maker-taker model. So that's been around Wall Street forever. So everyone understands that. And then there's an old term called soft dollar. So that is used. So like it's similar. It's the maker-taker model. So if you create, let's say, an agentic trading bot, you can choose to lease it out for a couple of ALTx tokens, but only when the person executes it, which is like a soft dollar mechanism. So that means that they use your strategy, and now they're executing trades, and you're getting a piece of the commission or the fee generated. That's going to be the way that's the majority of the use. But what we're doing, and if I show you the pro forma model, you guys, it's a little nuts, because what happens is I'm going to buy 20% with all the revenue that's generated from the terminal. I'm going to keep on buying 20% of the tokens back into the treasury off exchange. So,
So it's deflationary? Are you gonna
deflationary model? Yeah, so that we can.
Yeah, that's what created.
There's a couple of reasons. One is I have 1 billion tokens FTV, but I am concerned that I need to have enough tokens in the system, so I'm going to keep on just buying them back because I have to. So, yeah. But that will cause a deflationary.
Good.
It should cause it to be actually deflationary. I just don't want to go into the model where. So we were thinking about buying them back and burning them, but now we're just going to buy them back and put them back in the treasury so we can reuse them again. So that's going to be the majority. So right now we have it at 20%. And we ran it through, I don't know if you guys ever know, what the Monte Carlo systems are, like machinations.
No.
So there's a software program that's out there, and anybody can go buy it. It's like $300 a month, where you can run these Monte Carlo types of situations. You build the whole model out, and you run it. And it runs random, but it runs through the process, and then it gives you back the kind of reporting.
Oh,
so you can see if the token is going to go, how the token will be used as more volume kicks in.
Are you one of our big questions with our community was the tokenomics. Do you have the tokenomics? Are you able to like pull them up on the screen and show us like how everything's broken down?
I do. Let me see what I want to show. See here. Sorry, I'm just trying to.
No, yeah, I think this is awesome. I mean, I'm just thinking about the everyday user and how this is going to help everybody. If you don't have time, time is not going to be an excuse anymore for someone that doesn't know how to learn or trade or buy tokens. Like, it sounds like this is like the everything platform that's going to help you, develop an app for everything.
Yeah, running agents. Yeah, it's going to be.
So let me show this to you. I mean, this is definitely, again, like I've been doing, actually private equity and strategy for like a long time. So, this is kind of like an institutional thing. I don't know, so this is the kind of assumptions page. I don't know if you guys, how many people have dealt with stuff like this. I'm assuming that people are kind of sophisticated. So, but it's not that complicated. So we have, let me see, where is revenue projections, the token emissions. So let me show you how the token emissions work. So here's the actual revenue buyback mechanism. So here's like the first month that the kind of total actual monthly revenue is 54,000. That's only so there's two mechanisms. So you sell. This is the number of the AI modules. We're calling them AIMs, and how much AIM you need to stake. So you're going to stake. And it's hard to walk through this without, it's easier to just piecemeal it to people while they're getting the actual application. But let's say you have to stake 5,000 of the token in order to sell your agent. So there is a kind of transactional volume. There's a stake token volume. We have this actual revenue share of 20% that comes to us based on the modules being used. It's like a tax. And then here's the average, kind of monthly revenue per modules. And then we also have the actual revenue done by the actual terminals themselves. So here in the first year, let's say we sell 132, a total of 563 terminals or 692 terminals. That'll give us the actual terminal revenue will be 2.2 million, and then the AIM revenue is like another 5 million. And that's based on the transactional tax. So now we're actually buying back. Trying to get too complicated. Now we're actually buying it back, actually 20%. So we're buying back 10,000 on 50,000, and we keep on buying back 20% every month. Here's the actual circulating market capitalization when we launch the token. It's going to be 7.4 million, about maybe even less. So we're going to start off with like a $10 million token market cap for the circulating. But if we keep on buying it back, you can see we just have a 5% growth on the token. Like 22%, 23%, I'm sorry, 23 cents, 24 cents. It just starts generating a lot of money. It generates a lot because you're buying the term, because the actual terminals, just the terminals alone, I mean, these are not big numbers. 692 users for the terminal in the first year, and then 44,000 by year 5. I mean, that's tiny. And I'm about to potentially put this in front of 17 million people. Just GoSats, which is a partner of ours that's based in India, is 1.5 million people. I get 10% of that. So if I get 44,000 people, we're talking about like 4.7 billion in the AIM revenue, 219 million in the terminal revenue. Our EBITDA would be like 240 million.
You said there's a 20% fee for ALTx.
20% fee on a tax. So there's small taxes.
Yeah.
So it's a 20% tax fee on the AIM transaction. So as the more the people use the agents, the more everybody gets a revenue share. And then we take a 20% of that revenue share. So it's like taking 20% off bips. Like 20% off of like 1 bip or 5 bips.
Yeah.
Right. That's the way it should be working. I have to double. We're constantly just double checking the math. But and if you start looking at this company, I mean, just on a DCF model, you're talking about at a 25% discount at a 12x. You're talking about $400 million company, and I'm capping it right now at 40. So my goal is, this is and that's on a DCF model. Okay. But that's with this conservative growth number. Let's say, I went in there and I started putting like, if I hit 1 million people, it gets really crazy.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be
so
wild.
just as an FYI, when I built corporate services, I took it from 0 to 50 million at NASDAQ. I basically started the business there, and we had our 3,000 customers on the issuer side. But really, by the time I was done, I had 10,000 clients. I had 10,000 corporate clients.
Wow,
that's public companies. So scaling, like the team that I have, we know how to scale. Like I'm already talking about customer service and reps, and there are some outsource opportunities that are out there. So yeah, I the biggest company I put together was probably DF King, worldwide, which ended up with about 900 employees, and I was chief strategy officer. So, and that was global. It was international, Asia, Brazil, Asia, Europe, and the US. And
okay.
Yeah, so I have experience at scale. I'm not worried about that either.
And so then, do you have an alpha demonstration that you could show us of the?
I don't have one now that I'm. Hold on a second. Let me just see if I have my old one, because they're sprinting right now towards next week.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to show something that's going to be like half.
Would you want to do another call when the demonstration is ready, and we could do a full demo?
And if people are in New York City next week, so we are hosting an event at the Google Pier 57, which is like they put $1 billion into it, and they basically redid it. It's this beautiful space. It's like walking into like Disney World of tech.
That's awesome.
And we have a side event there on the actual 19th.
And while you're doing that, do you know how like the token supply is distributed, like percentage to the team, percentage to like early investors?
I can show you that stuff. It's easy to show. There we go. Let me go back into this. So the way we have it now, you guys see that okay? Okay.
Oh, nice.
So the way that we have it now is, let me go full screen on this so you guys can see it better. So the first round is like you get like a token warrant. So you get so when you invest into Alpha AI, which is the parent, which is actually the company that's holding the actual terminal. It's a Wyoming corporation. I got a great name, Alpha AI, and then which I love the word alpha. So,
Enzo.
Right, exactly. So we have in the first round it's at a penny, and then we were going to go out at 10 cents. Now I think we're going to go out at 15 cents.
Wow.
So we're going to have a penny. So the first round is like the first like $300,000 or so. You get the token at a penny is the set token price. And then so it's a match. It's a 1-to-1 match to every dollar that you put into Alpha AI. So you get the equity plus you get the token warrant, which is basically free. I'm going to sell people the token warrant at or to cash it out. It's going to have a cost basis of par value, so that you have a cost basis, because most funds want cost basis. So because when you just give someone a token, it's not as good, because then, you know, of the income tax versus capital gains tax.
Yeah.
So and right now it's a 6-month lockup, and I was going to do a 10% staking yield. I actually might change that to a 3-month lockup from TGE, which is something that we're talking to. I go back and forth with my attorneys now that the regulations are changing and the US is becoming a little bit more normal. We might do that. And then the other side of it too is that one of the other things that I'm looking at is we're a big investor in Wire Network, and they're doing really well. They're about to launch their TGE, but they're doing what the Morpheus guys did, which is you stake. And I think Morpheus has about $1 billion of each staked in their contract. So they stake into the contract. The ETH generates a 4% yield or 5% yield. They take the ETH yield and they give you the Morpheus token. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking about doing for those first 3 months. You know, when I lock everyone up during those first like kind of 90 days, I would have it running that system. So people who are coming in and staking ETH at the same time would get more tokens. But if you bought the tokens, then you would just wait the 3-month lockup. And then it would go out. I'm talking to top people. Like I have a lot of good actual contacts at big exchanges. You know, I worked for OKEx right before COVID hit. I was the head of their kind of international strategy. I have friends at Binance. I have friends at Coinbase. I have friends at Kraken. But you know, we'll see. I don't want to make any guarantees and stuff like that, because I think that's poor look.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're just mostly, you know what? We just want to look. I built a bunch of businesses in my career. And I built Equities.com. I took that to 2 million monthly users, even though it was dealing with small caps and OTC. I left because I wanted to go do crypto. I built the NASDAQ market. I built the NASDAQ market intelligence desk, which was a system that we use still. I helped to actually kind of do the front end type of design, the UX, how we interact. That's my background, is how you interact and use the actual systems. I built DF King actually worldwide. That got sold. I built Globe Newswire. That got sold. So I'm used to building companies. I did a lot for actually private equity firms and so on and so forth. But this is something that I know we need. Well, I know we need at the fund. And then the world's telling me that they need it too. And with all the E's coming online, we're going to definitely need it. So that's why I'm building it. I'm going to try to keep the cost low and give you a terminal. So $1,000 a month, you get a terminal. I'll probably switch the terminal box every 2 years. Working with Google on that. And yeah, I'm just looking for smart investors to come in. And we have some really smart guys who want to come in. I'm talking to them too now, like people who ran. I have one of the guys who invented the QQQs, who's a good friend, you know. So I'm going both to TradFi and to my crypto friends, like Michael Turpin is in, GDA Capital's in,
It's huge.
Labs is coming in. That's the guys who they're based out of South Korea. So we have a bunch of good folks coming in, and of course, you know, the kind of Intrepid group. So
yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, so we're going to be investing in the strategic round, right? So just for our investors watching,
you guys are in the earliest round. But you have to move in now so that I can lock you guys in so you get the best option. And then
we're going to get this out today. And then I think, Mike, when do you want to close it after we give them a chance to watch this AMA?
Yeah. We're going to present the AMA to the community. And also we're partnering with you guys. So we're going to display our agent on your as one of the modules as well.
Right. So and that's so cool too, because one of the things that I am understanding about is, so we are bringing in the equities and options market. I don't even talk about this. I'm bringing in equities trading and options trading on top of it all. and then I'm looking at private shares.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's exciting. So this, I mean, basically from the strategic to the public, we're looking at a 15x.
yes. I mean, I would say that you have to think about, like, I don't want to guarantee anything.
Nothing's guaranteed. Absolutely not.
You know, this is not. Plus, it's a utility token. Like, I don't even know how this stuff all works. But I've run investor relations firms, and I run my own fund, and I'm very into the fiduciary duty. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that I'm building a product that really is going to. My goal is to change the world on this one, because every time there's a couple of times in my career where I'm like, wow, I can really change stuff here. Like with the corporate services business at NASDAQ all of a sudden was competing against 5 other exchanges, and we all looked the same. So I created products and services so we can wrap the listing and keep the listings. And what ended up happening is the FCC ended up, and they would tell me this, that they would get switches from the New York Stock Exchange to NASDAQ because of the products. And no one ever thought the products would be that important. But, you know, every single exchange in the world had to have products after we created those. That's the type of stuff that I think is going to happen here.
Well, I think this could be massive, because rethinking the UX is, you know, I think it's going to be the next wave of how we do. Like, it's obviously everything's about to change, and you guys have that vision where you see it. You know, that right there is very few and far between. Not a lot of companies or, you know, or people are even aware of what's happening, what we're even talking about, like with the agent. Like, there's people that are completely missing that. But you guys are on point with all of that. So that's one of the reasons we're so excited about this.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah. Enzo, sorry, I got another question from the community before we go back into the PowerPoint. They were asking, do you still plan? So I saw the TGE was set for like April 30th. Do you still plan to have a TGE April 30th if the markets aren't up to par with where we expect them to be? Like, are you, you know, they're down right now, and
I'm having conversations now with, I talked to a market maker yesterday, both that, like, it's funny, the market makers on the TradFi side are now getting into this market making. So I've been speaking to some friends in that world. And then I also had a conversation with a person who was the former, like head of the US for Kraken. And we were talking about this. And I think that we should do it, but I've been involved in a lot of IPO, like, you know, the companies I've helped to run were in investor relations, proxy society, like public markets. And the thing about the crypto markets is that it's kind of like a public market, but not, you know, it's got this like weird type of dynamic. We want to, and I don't think I'm going to stop, because I want to get the product out there. Because if the worst comes to worst, the product will be used on the terminal. And then 2, if I have enough capital, I'll just buy back all the tokens.
yeah, buy at a lower price.
I don't really, you know, I don't really care. You know, I do care, but I don't really care. I think the market will tell me what the price is supposed to be.
Absolutely.
And I'll have all of the normal things tied into it. But I actually want to help to kind of shepherd in this new formation in the United States. And I'm going to be at the March 25th, the kind of digital chamber summit. I was in DC last week. I just, you know, I really want, I am a little worried about rogue agents driving things a little wild. So I think terminals will be very helpful in managing them and circuit breaking some of them. I'm a little bit concerned about that. I'll be honest. And I think that's why you need the terminal too. But yeah, I think that we're full, we're full force ahead. I'm not going to stop.
I think that's smart, honestly, because then, like you said, if you launch at when there's negative sentiment, you can gather feedback, revamp the app or the UI, and make it even better, so that when the sentiment is positive, everybody's like, "Oh, have you seen Alpha Liquid? Like, have you downloaded it?" So yeah, that gives you time to fix the bugs and make it even more perfect. So that makes sense.
And people are going to want terminal. You know, it's harder to trade when stuff's going sideways.
True.
So the use of a terminal will probably be more popular.
That's a good point. All right, that's good. Yeah, that's a good answer. I like it.
All right, guys. Well, that's is that it, or do you guys want to go over anything else?
Did you finish your PowerPoint? I don't know if you had any more.
I could go over like the team and stuff, but we don't have to go over all that.
Okay.
I mean, I could if you guys want to. Hold on.
If you have time, I think the more information, the better. But if you don't have time, then maybe we could loop this into like the demo.
You know what I'll do is let me just go through this for you guys. It's because it's definitely important. So as I said, I have a team. So this is the team that's been with me. Just as an FYI, I know Michael Turpin for 25 years. I tried to buy MarketWire when I was at NASDAQ. He ended up selling it to another firm, but then they all came together on the NASDAQ anyway. So I started Globe in the corporate services business, but I know Michael, and when I wanted to get into crypto, I called him up in 2015 when I wanted to go full-time, like really working it. Wes Levitt is my CIO. He's a CFA. Mike Schuler was the co-founder of MarketWire. He's like a COO. He's now running Blockchain Wire, which is Content Syndicate. The SVP, actually, Sandra DeTore, has been on Wall Street for many years and also worked at Fox, was the biggest family office exchange business. She has a ton of experience. She's my kind of chief of staff too. Matt Mosa worked for SC for RBC and has been in the kind of valuation world for a while. He's the head of research. And then Steve Conoval has actually run 2 hedge funds and one during the actual 90s. Has worked for the CME. A lot of us have built platforms for the kind of New York Stock Exchange and so on and so forth, the NASDAQ. My team, it's a great tech team. Tom Riker is someone I've known for 20-something years. He was former GM at Microsoft and IBM. He was a practice lead at Deloitte for Google. He ran about a $400 million business. And then, of course, the other guys here too. But you can see that there's a huge extension of talent here. From a advisory standpoint, the one person that I want to point out is actually Demo Scout Kodos team. So we're actually using Expand Network. Expand is backed by Cumberland and DRW. Demo ran Corporate Solutions after I left NASDAQ. He took it from 50 to 250 million. He's also was the actual head of sales on the institutional side at Ledger, ran products at the kind of New York Stock Exchange on the issuer side, and also was at Block Damon as the head of sales. And then actually Brittany Kaiser, you may know her. She's been around for a while, very well known in the actual crypto space. Michael Gord and actually Josh Lawler is my attorney. He's been in crypto, one of the smartest attorneys. Former actually Skad Norris, runs his own law firm now. The ALTx token, as I said, is broken down into token kind of utility and the reward system. It's a maker-taker type of system. We actually expect people to stake more ALTx in order to unlock features. So the more you stake, the more you'll unlock. That's part of this program. And in the spreadsheet that I showed, the aims, which are the kind of agentic modules, we're going to have a tax of 20% no matter what you price it at. So if you price it at X, at 1%, we'll get 20% of that, and so on. The other thing is we actually use something called a soft dollar mechanism, which is tied to we built a tokenized version of it, which is kind of like a brokerage type of commission model. So basically when someone uses or executes the agent, they use the agent, you get paid a commission on that agent. And that can be done either we expect eventually the decentralized exchanges to probably start to provide rebates for actually order flow. So what's going to happen is if I'm sending them order flow, instead of me keeping it, I'm going to have the people who are on the platform take it. And basically what's going to happen is that I'll take a piece of it as part of the tax that's going to them, but I won't take the order flow myself. Like if you look at some of the older FTX, Voyager, some of those guys, a lot of them were selling the order flow from or actually Robinhood. They would sell the retail order flow to the institutions. So instead of doing that and benefiting from it yourself only as a company, you could do that and actually have everyone share in that benefit. That's what this is. But this stuff gets very complicated, so I try not to talk about it too much because it can get a little bit overwhelming. But this is the way Wall Street was built, basically. The other revenue drivers, as I mentioned, are the premium features, the tax on the kind of transaction fees, or the use of the actual agent, the order flow payments, research. We could sell research. We're actually working with some of the top research firms in the space to potentially have an upgrade, or you can get even better research. Again, this can be attached to an agent. The token kind of relationship management. So that means on the issuer side, you could be managing there's a big opportunity to do things like token surveillance. So you would be able to target who holds your token, name them, find them, and target them. And then targeting, like you could go find new token holders. A lot of this stuff I built in the stock industry for the issuers. So when they would target pension funds, like these are large cap companies trying to find new investors, we would be able to show them data on if a certain fund invested in the healthcare tech sector, right? But they were maxed out based on their filings, we would not put them on the top of the list for a healthcare tech company to target because they're kind of maxed out. So once this industry starts becoming a little bit more institutional and we start seeing some type of filings or disclosures coming in, we feel that that's going to be part of the actual business model. The accounting and compliance section, again, this is about, I think one of the biggest things about the terminal is that you'll actually have a compliance agent and tool. The compliance agent, where we're thinking, could go and understand all the new regs, right? So every time there's a new reg that comes out, you get an alert, the new reg came out, the compliance agent figures out how does that apply to you. Maybe there's some human interaction, obviously. So we think that's going to be important. And then that accounting and compliance agent could track your trades, track all the information, QuickBooks, all that stuff or whatever, track all of the basic accounting, fund administration at some level, and then actually give you a separate kind of report based on what's going on. And then the last piece is the hardware. We think we're talking to very sophisticated cybersecurity experts that are, government focused, that are, part of Google, so on and so forth, in order to create a very locked down box, because the box can pop off the actual back of the monitor. So let's say you're faced with a fire, like in the LA area, you can grab the box, pop it off. We're going to have buttons where you can sweep all the accounts and so on and so forth. So very, very sophisticated approaches to making sure that we can lock down your box if it has to be locked down, or you can. I'm sorry. So yeah, so we have all that. Here's the basic groups of people that are involved in running it. The intelligent guys, which is Tom Riker and his team, very sophisticated. In fact, we just got a CTO, a new CTO who's a Google fellow, which means that they're an expert on Google systems and cloud networks. And then Wire Network, which is one of our biggest investments, has a kind of interoperability layer, and they're working with guys like Wall Street Bets and so on, and they're building something that is going to go live very soon. It's in testnet, but it's actually interoperability with no bridges. So we're going to be using their system as part of our wallet system. So we want to cover the whole financial world, because it's going to be agent based. And then, so here are so a lot of these platforms we use as a fund. So we've started to incorporate some of them into our system, and we're looking for, we want to pull in every big CEX, all of the major DEX, actually trading platforms, so you can route, and then of course the data and news. And then here's a roadmap. We are on target with the roadmap. So by Q2 2025, we will have our general release 1.0 will be launching next week at DAS. It's going to be it's still the MVP stage, and we're going to be using a test DEX as a way to show some of the features. So it's almost like a paper trading type of approach. Here's some high level numbers again. This is, we were looking at potentially buying this actual RIA, which we still may do. And then of course the actual token economics. So the last part is the actual use of proceeds. So we're going to raise first 4.7 million, and then, but I've already been courted to raise a 10 and then raise another 50. So we're looking at how we're going to do that. But the first 4.7 is really your folks. And we have some new hires, of course. We want to call, really acquire. I've done most of my life, I've done buy and build. So I roll up companies into to plug certain actual pieces of the puzzle. In this case, the RIA in 50 states comes with about 5,000 accounts. We're looking to acquire that one, and then we're looking to acquire another one that's been around for about 30 years. That would be for the version of the Alpha Liquid Terminal that would be under the kind of regulatory world, and then there'll be an Alpha Liquid Terminal that'll just be fintech, where we don't do any custody, we don't get involved with any of the kind of investment strategies or anything like that. So we believe that the terminal is going to have a use case for multiple kind of uses, so that's why we're kind of building it that way. And then lastly, the actual marketing and sales and the product development. So most of this stuff is going to go to product dev. We've been funding it ourselves. So my money's in here. My personal money's in here. We don't expect anyone to come in unless we're investors, and we're big investors. And we appreciate people who want to be involved, who want to build on the platform, who want to be a customer. You don't have to invest in order to be a customer. And we look forward. I think we're going to start to take potentially a deposit for the first terminals, where you're going to get a hard terminal, like maybe like $1,000 type of deposit, where you would hold it. We would hold it in an escrow account. We're not going to spend the money. We're just going to hold it as a deposit, so we can designate maybe the first 500 terminals to get the first, whoever gets the first actual 500. And the people that get it, I'm not sure if I showed you this, but there is a keyboard, and this keyboard is it has like a degen mode on it, and it has this thing called trip mode, which is that mushroom. And that trip mode is going to be, we're actually working with Web3 gamers. When you hit trip mode, you can go into like a Web3 game or go into like an experience, because we know how stressful it is to trade in crypto. So we're like, we need to give people like the binaural music or something, just so that they can have an experience that makes things a little bit lighter as they're, white knuckling it through meme sniping. So that's the whole idea.
Yeah, one exciting part of our community being investors is that we're going to be part of that alpha group, right? Like the alpha testers. So we're excited to, for me personally, I'm going to dive deep into it, and our community will be able to, use it sooner than anyone else. So we're excited about that.
I think that's important. I mean, the fact that you have the kind of 130 investors or 160, if you get 100 of them or 50 of them to get involved. And it's better if they're different levels. Like if some are like really sophisticated fund guys, some are just whales, some are more like meme types, or some are just like not really that sophisticated at trading yet. I would love to have that mix, because then we could really get a feel for what has to be adjusted, fixed, bugs, UI, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so that is like what our community looks like. But I think we covered it pretty well, and it's a very exciting vision you guys have, and you have the talent to execute and make it happen. So, that's not all the questions, Chris. I think we could wrap it up.
I was going to ask one more. Any KOLs?
Oh, okay, you've got one.
It's quick. Any KOLs?
The big KOLs. they're very big KOLs. Like I have two very big KOLs that are really, one has 2 million followers, that all traders, both on TradFi and crypto, and the other one is the same with 17 million.
Wow. Okay, that's all you need to say.
And then GoSats has 1.5 million, and they're based out of India. And I mean, I haven't even touched on. And then don't forget, Michael Turpin has a huge following. I have a pretty decent following. But yeah, we're going to. And then I'm talking to one of the top marketing firms in Asia. I have to figure out Asia though. I have to figure out if I can ship terminals there or not.
Yeah.
So I have to figure out how to do that. But yeah, no, we're going to be a U.S. firm, and then we have some access to Washington, so we're going to try to use some of that too, and try to show something that allows people to live in this world and self-direct and self-trade and do it in a way that's going to be beneficial to everyone. I think that's the real next step. I mean, I've been in the exchange world for a long time, so I'm always thinking about protecting the investor, protecting the issuer, kind of making it a fair market as much as possible.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate your time. We appreciate your insight. Like, I think this is going to be very valuable to our community. And then as far as like, would you want to do a demo video at some point, or?
Yeah, we'll be, so let me get to DAS next week. If people aren't in New York City, please come to the Google event. It's starting to get oversubscribed, but the way those events are, we'll get like 200 people sign up and then like 50 will show up. So, but we have some press showing up, I just learned too, so that's cool. But really what I'll be able to show them a demo probably, maybe not next week, but the week after, like when I get back. I'm going to head down to Washington on March 25th, and then I'll try to do it between that, maybe.
Okay.
Between the 21st and 25th.
I'll collaborate with you in that group too, because I have a sales rep in New York City that wants to go. So we'll connect him with you guys, and he's sales and he's in AI as well, so I can get him to go.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, gentlemen.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Enzo. Appreciate it. Appreciate your time today.
All right. Thanks again.
Absolutely. Take care, man.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys. So that's the AMA. If you guys enjoyed it, if you guys are looking to invest into Alpha Liquid, the links will be down below. You guys can check out their Twitter, their website. There's a public chat for our Intrepid VC Discord that you guys can click and communicate and chat with us as well. And if you have questions about the project or invest in, you can shoot it in the public Discord as well. But yeah, with that, Mike, do you have anything to say?
Ultimately, this is an exciting project. It's rethinking the UX between users and their devices, their experiences in trading. I've been saying this for a while, that you do not want to be someone, there's a lot of people in crypto who trade by charts, but obviously AI is going to take over that task. So it's going to be better than human beings at everything, and it's going to be better at human beings at seeing the patterns in trading. And this is this company who is positioning themselves to not only do crypto, but they're doing traditional stocks as well. But they're thinking about that agent architecture, and they're it's got the right market timing. They have the right talent. They have the experience with the background and all of the trading integrations. So it's an exciting project. As we went over everything, we're excited about it, and I personally will be investing a large amount in this one as well. So that's the angle I'm coming from.
Hell yeah! And we'll be back to regular scheduled podcasts on the next episode. So with that, see you guys later. Peace.